Let's turn to Andaluza Knoll Soloff. She's a freelance journalist based in Mexico City, and she also joins us from the Mexican capital. Andaluza, thank you for joining us. Is it your sense that the government was prepared for the kind of retaliation that it saw, or was it caught off guard?
That is a very good question, and it seems that the government was not prepared, but at the same time, it would be absurd for them have to thought that this would not be the reaction, as it has been the reaction every single time a leader of a drug cartel is apprehended or killed. I do think that perhaps they didn't realize the extent of the reaction, that thought maybe it would be limited just to the states of Jalisco and Michoacan and maybe Guanajuato, which are all next to each other, and where the new generation Jalisco cartel has most of their strength. But I don't think they maybe thought it would spread all across the country to 20 states, to Guerrero, to Tamaulipas, to Cancun, and that there would be so many attacks both on convenience stores, on government banks, on public transit, and such a severe reaction also in Puerto Vallarta, which is a tourist coastal city in Jalisco. But once again, it would be hard to believe that the government did not know this was the kind of reaction that would happen.
Your family lives in Puerto Vallarta. You were there on Friday. What are they telling you? I know for a lot of tourists, they've been told to stay inside their hotels and not leave.
Yes, that is correct. So Puerto Vallarta is a beautiful coastal city, which has been transformed over the past few years in a snowbird community for many people from the U.S. and from Canada that spend the entire winter there, which includes my family, who are originally from the U.S. And they, from their balcony yesterday, sent me videos where you could just see smoke throughout the entire city, as many buses were burned, and the buses that were burned then also caused many buildings to be set on fire. There was also targeting of OXXO convenience stores, and they largely don't really understand what is going on or why this is happening, but are just staying home. And I think it's important to mention that, fortunately, the majority of tourists or snowbirds do have the privilege of staying home. They are not there to work. And unfortunately, it is the Mexicans who are really bearing the brunt of this violence, because they are the ones that, if there is no bus, cannot get to work. They are the ones that yesterday on a Sunday, where many people who work in the informal industries of selling food, of selling goods, could not sell yesterday because they had to clear the streets, or they were on buses and they were forced off of these buses. And then today, schools are closed, businesses are closed, and many people live day to day. So if your business is closed, that means that you cannot put food on the table. So I think it is important to recognize that all these tourists are right, but also what is really happening to the Mexican population and to the working class population of Mexico.
I understand, and you make a very good point there. And our reporter, Frank Contreras in Mexico City, was telling us things could actually get worse in terms of violence before they get better. Are there concerns about a potential power vacuum now?
Yes, there are very serious concerns that when a leader of a cartel is taken out, then who will fill that role? And we have seen this over the past few years in the state of Sinaloa with the Sinaloa cartel, as Mayo Zambada was captured and brought to the United States, which caused a splintering in the cartel and has led to unprecedented levels of violence in Sinaloa, of disappearances, of murders, of narco blockades, and of people really saying they live somewhat another kind of pandemic, a narco pandemic, where they cannot go about their everyday lives. So there is a fear of what we have seen in Sinaloa over the past few years can now be spreading to Jalisco, to Michoacan, to Colima, to Guanajuato, and many other places across the country.
All right, Andaluza, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.